Happy Eve of Christmas Eve. I wanted to talk about some Christmas miracles that have happened in my life, others' lives, and more importantly, how you can experience a Christmas miracle as well. So, if that sounds like something interesting, then like this, share this, tag someone in this, and also subscribe to our YouTube channel. Put everything up there as well too. But welcome everybody. And if you're not familiar with me, just to give you a little bit of context, around 21 days ago, I made a decision that I wanted not just a breakthrough in my life, but a miraculous breakthrough. I was in a place in my life where I was stuck. Maybe you are as well too. Have you ever felt that way? You feel like you've been trying your best, you've been working hard, you've been reading the books, asking the advice, doing what you need to do, but there's an area in your life that you just feel like you're just not making headway in. Has that ever happened for you? If it has, whether you're live or in replay, put a one in the chat just so I know who I'm talking with, because that's where I was at. I had struggles in my business to take it to the next level. I'm a coach, trainer, entrepreneur. I help people build online businesses. I had struggles in my relationship. I had struggles in our finances. We had some things that we needed to break through the next level, and things were good, but things weren't amazing. And taking a look at the timeline, taking a look at what was going on, I was praying and I was just like, what would it take to receive a miraculous breakthrough? And a miraculous breakthrough, what does that mean? A miracle is something that is not natural. A miracle is something that is supernatural. And what supernatural means is simply above the natural. Supernatural meaning something where God shows up. And maybe you've been in that place in your life where you need God to show up in some powerful, powerful way. And it's so key. And I was in that journey. And whether you're a person of faith or not, I think we've all been in that place where we needed that extra breakthrough, right? So I decided to embark on a journey. I looked through the Bible and I figured, hey, if I want a miracle, go to where miracles can happen. And it's a spiritual thing. I'll take a look at the spiritual side. And I'm not a biblical scholar. I'm not an author. I'm not a preacher or a pastor. But, I could read the Bible. And I was reading through it and I noticed one thing. I noticed there was a pattern. I noticed there was a formula. And this is the formula for anybody that achieved breakthroughs in their life, miraculous breakthroughs. All the way from Moses, that guy that split the Red Sea and all that, to a woman like Esther. If you don't know the story of Esther, powerful story. She basically was able to completely save all of her Jewish people of that day. To Paul, the great evangelist and apostle, to even Jesus himself. There is a formula that if you do this, if they did this, they were able to achieve miracles in their lives. So I got fascinated about that. And I asked myself the question, if we did this, and also in today's day and age, people that do this formula, they also achieve miraculous things in their life as well. So I got very fascinated. And I'm like, let's try this out. And what the formula is very simple. It's a period of, number one, fasting, spiritual fasting. A spiritual fast is when you fast from food or something with the intention of getting closer to God. Without the God piece, it's just a diet. So number one, a fast. Number two, a period of prayer. Prayer is just talking to God, communication. And number three is study. Specifically for me, is Bible study. If you want to hear God's will for your life, you need to hear his word, right? So I ended up doing that, and I spent a period, and I dedicated a 21-day period, and some of you guys are following, of a 21-day period of fasting, prayer, and study to achieve a breakthrough. I had no idea what to expect, but I was skeptically open-minded to the concept. And I wonder if this would resonate with you. I wonder if this would inspire you in your area in your life right now, if you're seeking for a breakthrough. And I'll tell you exactly what happened. 7 days in. So I first started with a complete water fast, and I document this all and everything. And in 7 days, the best way to describe what happened to me was kind of like Neo in the Matrix, if you watch that movie. What happened was I had this absolute clarity. The big questions that I had some specific prayer requests and everything, you know, um, clarity. It was just like I got downloaded information. Wisdom just came. And I was just like, I knew answers to my business, answers to my to our finances, breakthroughs in every single area. What's going on? Welcome back. Answers and even supernatural ways of changing things with myself. Does anyone here, if we're honest with ourselves, have habits that are really hard to break? You try to break them, but it's really, really tough, right? For me in my marriage, I have male ego, and there's things that I want to do, but I just can't make the changes typically, right? And I appreciate the transparency. But even after I went through that 7 days, I was able to make changes where my wife was so amazed, where she was just like, "Oh my gosh, who are you?" And I was even thinking, "Who am I?" Like, this is crazy. And basically for me, my number one goal was I wanted to have a deep personal encounter with God. And that's what I got in 7 days. And I continued with the process. I kept on going, right? I had an inspired thought. The inspired thought after 7 days, I'm like, man, I got to tell people about this. My friends and some of my partners were asking me, what are you doing, James? Tell me what's going on. I lost 14 pounds too. That was cool. So got fit, which was a nice byproduct. I shared it with another friend of mine, one of my friends and partners. Her name is Lily Lou. I just posted a video about her. She decided to do this. And yes, I am a believer in Lord Jesus. Absolutely. Yes, I'm Christian. And I shared this principle and this formula with Lily, and she never did this before. And her story was incredible. She was seeking financial breakthrough. And I've known her for many, many years. And there's been financial struggle in their household for 7 years. Ever since I've known them, 7 years. They made some big, big gains, but still, it's like they couldn't take it to the next level. Health things. She had things. She had bad carpal tunnel, really bad debilitating carpal tunnel. Things with her weight, hormones, so many different things. Things with her blood work. It was like going off the charts. She did this, and she said in her first day she had a breakthrough so remarkable. It was better than years of therapy and counseling. 7 days in, no joke. She went back to her doctor, and her blood work, in her words, went from a grade F to a grade A. All of her blood levels were normalized. Her carpal tunnel symptoms got way better. She was increasing in strength. Her doctors were amazed, and they were just like, what are you doing? Yes, amen to that. Financially, she had the biggest breakthrough of ever. They had been trying to refinance their home for many, many years and always got rejected. But it just so happened in the last day of this, she did this for 7 days, followed this formula. They got a miraculous breakthrough in their finances, and a miracle refinance situation happened that completely now, after 7 years of knowing them, had put them into the best financial position ever. Ever. And I was just like, wow, this stuff's intense. So this formula works for anybody. Yes, prayer works. Fasting, prayer, and study specifically. Miraculous breakthroughs. I got an inspired thought during this 21-day period. I said, maybe, James, you're supposed to write this in a book. I'm not an author. I'm not a pastor. I'm not a scholar. I'm a business coach. I'm an entrepreneur. So I had an inspired thought, like, maybe I should write a book. And with no experience of writing anything, in 10 days of obsessive writing, came out with the first manuscript of a book called The Miraculous Breakthrough Formula, the 7-day challenge, biblically guaranteed to get you unstuck and achieve the impossible. And here I am now, out on a limb, saying I got a book now. I don't know how to publish it. I don't know what to do. And I start to research and I start to go through different things. And I had another inspired thought. I'm like, maybe I'll do what's called a Kickstarter campaign. And I'm sharing this all because as I'm going through the miracles that I'm experiencing through this promise, I want to detail out what you can do to experience miracles in your life as well too. Because truth is truth. Laws are laws. They work for everybody. Gravity works for everybody, whether you believe it in or not. These truths work for anybody, whether you believe it in or not. All right, so these things work. But I'm just being obedient to the process. I write this book. I come up with this Kickstarter to raise funds. And we decide that we're going to raise $10,000 by Christmas. That's the goal. Okay. A very quick 10-day campaign. and put it all together. If you want to take a look at that, you can also, and you get some cool perks if you do support it. I do want to give a quick shout out. In the last 10 days, I've just been of launching this campaign. I've been so honored by everybody that has been supporting this, whether financially supporting it or they've actually financially supported this. We're kind of giving some cool perks to at different levels. Let me just share this real quick with you guys. But it was a lot of really cool. So after 10 days in, we've had 25 people that have backed this. We've raised over $3,000 for this book. And there's a lot of costs that come into launching a book, of publishing, editing, marketing, distribution, all these different types of things. So big shout out. I just want to give this as well by name. Crystal Thompson, thank you so much. Alan Cho, thank you. Eric Ramulo, thank you. David Lee, thanks, brother. He got in at the partnership tier. That means that where you can actually, there's a level that you can get your name in the book. So thanks so much for being a partner. On Andrea Rosser and Brett Palmer, Jason Wing, Gracie Turner, Tammy Egbert, Travis Hutchinson, Joanne Lee, Tracy Goa, my mom. She's a partnership level. Kristen White and that's Darren Zobrist, John Wadsworth, Luis Evangelista, Song. Shout out Song. Thanks for being a partner. Elvis Kai, Sarika Thompson, Sarika Gibson, Marlene Trenholm, Lily Liu, thanks for being a partner. David Chow, thanks for being a partner. Todd Rowland and Ashley, thanks for being a partner. Nicole Gripsad, Sonia, Adair, and Emmanuel. Thanks, guys, for supporting and backing this campaign. That was a miracle in itself. We raised over $3,000. And if you're interested in that, take a look at the link in the bio. You can find a way to get a copy of this book, autographed copies, maybe even have your name in the book as well too. And it mean a lot, not just for me, but for everyone involved in this, because I know this formula works. But Christmas miracles, let me talk about what happened. Okay. So start out with this 21 day of fasting, prayer, and study for a breakthrough. In that journey, I received great breakthroughs after 7 days. Then I get an inspired thought to write a book in 10 days. Then I have an inspired thought to launch a Kickstarter and start to campaign for that. And in the middle of this discussion, 2 major miracles happen. I'm telling you, this stuff's nuts. When I finished my 21-day period of fasting, prayer, and breakthrough and study, 2 major things happen. 1, I'm campaigning for this book. I have a conversation with someone. I am not even kidding. This is what happened. I had an inspired thought to reach out to one of my friends, talk about this book and talk about some ideas. Get on a phone call. This person said this. They said, James, you would not believe it. Last week, I felt like God told me an idea as well too. And the first person I thought about for this idea was you. We are now both inspired by God, talking to each other, and now in collaboration. We're actually, next week, I'm flying out to meet this person I've never met in person before, spending a couple of days. And we have a huge idea. Huge. Like, wow. Like, oh my gosh, idea. That was breakthrough number 1, miracle number 1. Miracle number 2, going through campaigning in this book. A miracle is something that you can't even explain. A miracle is something where you know that God showed up. A miracle, and that's what we all want, right? A miraculous breakthrough. I'm telling you the formula that leads to this. Fasting, prayer, and study works every single time. Okay. 21 days end, I have another conversation. And this person gets back to me and says, James, I love your book idea and I'd love to support it, but I have a better idea. I'm like, oh, okay. So we get in a phone call. Turns out this friend of mine, colleague of mine, who I had no idea about her history, has actually not just been an author of a best-selling book, has actually authored 8 other books, has actually coached other people to author books, and is connected with one of the biggest publishing houses in the world. I can't make this up. I can't make this up. And says, James, I believe in your idea. I believe in you. Would you allow me to help you in this process of publishing your book? And if this works, your name and your book will be everywhere in this circle. Instant promotion. And I'm like, what? What? Now, I don't count my chickens before they they hatch type of thing. So we're still in conversation, but just the fact that these types of divine encounters and miraculous opportunities can actually happen, I was just like, wow. Wow. Are you in a place right now that you're searching for a miraculous breakthrough in your life? In your business, perhaps, in your finances, in your family, in a health situation, in something personal? You know what it is. And I just want to share this with you as a hope and as an encouragement, because not too long ago, I was in that place as well, too. I was stuck. I was seeking for breakthrough. I needed something to show up. I needed someone to show up. And when I started to understand these biblical truths of fasting, prayer, and study, and I started to implement this formula with a definite decision of that, I'm seeing how different life is. And the reality is this type of a formula, when you implement it, why does it work so well? Because the reason why miracles don't happen in our life is we get our own way. Isn't that true? Who here's ever been your own worst enemy before? Right? I am all the time. There's a way that seems right to man that leads to death, it says in Proverbs. So much so that it says it twice. Same proverb. But there's a way that God has that works. And when you apply this formula, you start doing things God's way. And if God wills it, they will be done. And if you want a miracle, then you go to the miracle maker. So after 21 days of doing this, what are the odds that on the 21st day, two major miracles happen that I can't even explain? And I'm just so thankful today. And it really is nothing that I did except obeying the law, obeying the formula, obeying God's law. And it's completely out of grace, God's grace, that these things are now happening, where I'm just sitting back and I'm like, how wonderful are you, Lord? And the same type of access to the same God is accessible for each and every single person that accepts the Lord into your heart, number one. And number two, is able to follow his promises. Because if you follow his promises, they hold true. They work. One thing about God's promises, he never lies. He doesn't let you down. People's promises can get broken all the time, isn't it? But God's promises, you can stand on those all day long. They're never going to break. So I just want to encourage you today. If you're in a place of your life that you are looking and seeking for a miraculous breakthrough, perhaps it's time to try things a different way. Maybe try things how God says to do them. Fasting, prayer, and study. It works every single time for every single person. If you like assistance on knowing how to do that as well, that's what my book is all about. So if you want to take a look at that to see how you can grab a copy and other cool perks as well too, take a look in my link in the bio. Take a look in my link in the bio and click on the Kickstarter. We're not there yet. We're raising 10,000. We've raised 3,000, and but I'm expectingly hope. Already miracles have happened, but I know more is going to happen as well too. Let me end with this story. There is a principle of giving in this world, a spiritual principle. All right. Talking about charity. Charitable giving is one thing, but biblical giving is a different thing. And I got to tell you this, an incredible story by Lily once again. It brought me so much joy. And it brought tears to my eyes. Because faith is doing something even before you see it. Faith is trusting. Faith is the confidence and assurance of the things not seen. Right? So Lily, as she was going through this process, and she saw that I was going through this Kickstarter, she felt convicted, saying, "I want to contribute to this." I'm not asking you to donate, but if you feel convicted and you feel like this aligns with me, this is what happened. Let me read with you a promise that God gives about giving in a specific way. And I shared this. This is 2 Corinthians 9:6. It's so huge. There's certain laws that God uses. Okay. So let me read this out. 2 Corinthians 9:6. Now I say this: the one who sows sparingly will also reap sparingly, and the one who sows generously will also reap generously. Each one must do just as he or she has decided in his heart, not reluctantly or under compulsion, for God loves a cheerful giver. There is a truth about giving out of gratitude and excitement. So don't even think if there's any giving situation in the world and you feel like you're being forced or threatened or something, don't do it. Okay, so you must decide in your own heart what you want to give. But here's the promise. And God is able to make all grace overflow to you, so that always having all sufficiency in everything, you may have an abundance for every good deed. Now, he who supplies seed to the sower and bread for the food will supply and multiply your seed for sowing and increase the harvest of your righteousness. When you do things God's way, when you give God's way, he who produces the wealth. Where does money come from? Where do resources come from? Every good gift comes from the perfect God that's above, right? So he gives you more when you do things the right way, because he rewards those that are generous givers. He wants to give to people that are going to give more, not the selfish ones, the giving ones, right? So, and it continues to say, you will be enriched in everything for all liberality, which through us is producing thanksgiving to God. And here's the key, though. Here's the context. For the ministry of the service is not only fully supplying the needs of the saints. A saint is a believer. A saint is a follower, right? A saint is somebody that is of faith, a Christian in this context, right? But is also overflowing through many thanksgiving to God. Because of the proof given by this ministry, they will glorify God for your obedience to your confession of the gospel of Christ and for the liberality of your contribution to them all. Okay, I read this all. Basically, what this is saying is, if you feel called to and you have some type of giving to somebody that is in ministry specifically, I'm just reading what the word says, right? Somebody that is doing something for a spiritual purpose, says elevating God's kingdom and is doing things for him. When you give in that regard, God multiplies your seed. Let me tell you the story. I'm not making this up. Lilia, she's going through this time of fasting, sees this Kickstarter that I do, and she says, I want to give. And I want to give not just at any level. She wants to give at the partnership level. Partnership level is $250 above. And that's where you can actually your name in the book and you get other cool copies of the book and stuff like that. She said, I want to do it. Remember, during this time, she didn't have the financial breakthrough yet. During this time, she actually didn't even know where the money was going to come from yet. She just felt convicted in her heart. She said, I want to give. And you know what she did? She gave out of faith. Here's what happened. Goes back home, tells her husband, Jack. And she's like, Jack, I made a decision today. I decided to give to this Kickstarter. Jack says this. You know what's crazy, Lily? Today at work, I got gifted a bottle of wine and literally, I'm not kidding, $250 of cash. What? What are the odds? Okay, this is Lily, not knowing that this happened, Lily said, I want to donate and contribute $250 exactly to this campaign. Comes back, Jack does not know about this. Lily tells Jack, I contributed to this campaign, $250. Jack says, really now? Today, I got gifted a bottle of wine and exactly $250 in cash. Don't tell me that's coincidence. Don't tell me that is just... What are the odds? What are the odds? There's Frank Turek, he's a great apologist, Christian apologist. He wrote a book that says it takes more faith to be an atheist. I don't have enough faith to be an atheist. Don't tell me. How is it $250 exactly? How is that not God? How is that coincidence? That's just crazy. And I'm just telling you, like, the reason I'm telling this story is not that you give to this campaign. I'm just telling you, there are ways that God has set up this world that are in his word. This is not hokey pokey. This isn't like theory. This isn't like a great thing to just try to get money. No, I'm literally just reading what Second Corinthians 9 said. Wow. And if you apply these principles and truths in your life, fasting, prayer, study, giving when it makes sense to you, there's just so many breakthroughs that happen. I'm like, oh my gosh. And ultimately, it's not anything that we did. It's ultimately what God's doing through us. And give credit to where credit's due. Hey, what's going on, Joe? So I just wanted to talk about these Christmas miracles today. I hope this encourages you. I want to see more than anything a miracle happen for you in your life. And I know it can if you just follow a couple laws, follow this formula. But if you felt convicted and you felt like, hey, check out that Kickstarter, take a look at that. Look at the link tree in the bio. I document all these different things and exactly how to do it in a practical way. I know, but wow, man. And subscribe to this YouTube. You might want to watch this one again. This was such an awesome thing. Like literally, I get like tears in my eyes when I'm thinking about these things. But hey, guys, other than that, happy Christmas Eve, Eve of the Christmas Eve. I'm praying for breakthroughs for you, your families, and your life. And thanks for being on this.